incredible advantage in life for those who separate past and future, who can recognize sunk costs and walk away from the past, move on to new things. But here's the challenge, right? Like so many things, our instinct is to preserve. Yeah, but I've invested so many years. I've spent X amount of dollars. Maybe I don't like where I'm at, but look how long it's taken me to get here. Well, here's the reality. That time is gone. That money is not coming back no matter what you do or what direction you take from here on out. There's no reason to think you have to maintain the same trajectory or hold on to a specific identity or pattern of behavior. Yesterday isn't the focal point here. The goal is what matters now and how will you get there now. You've grown, you've evolved, you've changed, and your targets have shifted, so why shouldn't you? The idea of sunk costs is so important because it's essentially realizing that you're not indebted to the resources you've spent or exhausted. There's no need to be a slave to previous decisions that you've made. No, just chalk it up as an integral step in your learning process, an aspect of growth, and move forward to what matters, to what you care about. If that seems obvious, I challenge you to think about the decisions you've made over the last year, and I guarantee you've let factors affect your decision-making that are irrelevant to your goals. Because we feel this camaraderie with yesterday, like there's a debt to be paid, but man, life is too short to run in place. If it's not pushing you forward, drop it. If it's not what you need, forget it. In other words, don't be one of those people that wakes up and makes the same mistake every single day because you've spent a long time making it. See, reality only exists in your head, and that's why it's beautiful. You can unlock the cell door and walk out. Don't lose sight of the greatest gift you have. The new beginning that lives in every second, where you can take a turn you've never taken before, remove the mask and play a role you've never played. Let that sense of excitement pull you to new things. Let go of what you can't change and pursue what you can. Forget the time spent. Think of now. Where can you invest now? Your surroundings didn't magically arrive. You chose them, and you can just as easily take that wheel and leave. Simple formula. What is best for you, and how do you get there? Not where you feel obligated to be or expected to be or pressured to be. Where do you need to be? Everything else is noise. Everything else is a rope keeping your ship on shore, and you are not confined to that harbor or yesterday's destination. You're built to chase the horizon, follow your curiosity into the sunset. You don't make decisions based on yesterday's story. You sculpt it with tomorrow's possibilities. Little intrinsically. You can't progress if you haven't analyzed something. This is not about your capabilities. This is never a call to doubt yourself. It's to be strategic. This is just saying that you need to understand reality so that you can conquer. If you want to be the next Michael Jordan, that's a huge ask. That's a lot. It's possible. You can do it. And you need to believe in every ounce of you that if that's what you want to do, it's a pursuit worth taking. But you also need to know what it means to be like you. You gotta understand how he sacrificed relationships. He sacrificed his friends, his love life. He got up every single morning. All he did was basketball. How he took thousands of shots. How his mentality and reckless behavior, his mindset, the way he looked at life and approached life on and off the court, it required that he was so intense and so obsessed with winning because some people couldn't do it. It meant that everything stopped except being the best. That's a big ask. A lot of people can't do that, don't want to do that. That's what it takes to think you're going to be Michael Jordan without understanding, one, the commitment that's required and how you stack up. I remember the CEO of the company that I worked for in college, he used to say, look, you have to be pretty honest. He'd say, was your baby's ugly? Look at what you have and be able to draw a line from where you want to be. So that's the point. You can juggle those things and be unstoppable. If you can be the one in front of know that there is amazing people who do it relentlessly. You can take that and you can vary it to the little things, right? To the awareness, promising yourself that you can analyze exactly do what needs to happen on the ground. Realistic, fact, fail. You won't sugarcoat it. You'll dive in. You'll look at quiet things so that you can pick up those pieces and build something stronger. Continue to stack and stand on what you've made. Those are the people that change the world. Those are the people that get done.
Watching a masterclass by author Margaret Atwood. It was on storytelling, and I knew going into it would be interesting. I'm not a particular fan of her work, at least from a content perspective.
And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our growlings when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding.
ego is ultimately a value to add. The ability to understand
take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost the money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me honey. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me honey.
Let's get the gears turning. that needed to be the theme for the day, and I appreciated it, right? So a few thoughts. One, surround yourself with sharp people like Ashley and Tyler that keep you grounded. But two, and perhaps the main point, stop creating friction for yourself when you're beginning new things. I've talked about this in different contexts, and I've hammered it into my day-to-day in many ways, right? Like if I'm going on a run, I have the running stuff by the door and ready to go with a glass of water. Then I wake up, the process feels so easy that to not go seems. But life is complex, and so are we. It was a great reminder that your handle on something in one area of life doesn't mean you'll implement it across the board. And I was grateful for that reminder. It's what I needed at that time. It's a reminder that winning isn't going. Winning is beginning. Because you're immersing yourself in the process and you're acclimating. You're seeing what works and what doesn't. You're growing, as opposed to taking an extra 3 months to put into place parameters that probably change anyway. One of my favorite mantras is simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Powerful, but sometimes elusive. But if you can keep it front and center, it adds immense value to it. The most powerful thing you can do is have a general sense of direction and go now with what you have. Ashley and I will change our social media tactics many times in the future because we're collecting data and we're moving forward. Tyler and I will approach our venture in probably countless ways. Because we're not in love with a particular strategy, we're in love with the end goal. And perhaps you, in your world, are at a point where you're seeking to initiate something new. And you're playing with the pros and cons, you're listing ideas in your head. Categorizing details and nuance, and sure, it seems important right now, in this moment, but will it forever? Right, my advice to you is to mitigate detail and instead place the value on finding the courage to begin now. Before you're ready, before you have all the answers, before you know how X, Y, and Z is going to unfold. Mitigate the friction to such an extent that the pursuit feels like an ice hockey rink. You're sliding into whatever comes through. Never underestimate how powerful that is. And be reassured by the fact that in 3 months from now or a year from now, the journey won't look the same. You'll be better in execution and wiser in strategy. Because you simply created a low barrier to entry. You leverage perhaps the most important ability you possess. Day was on a podcast with Evan Carmichael, who's a YouTuber and entrepreneur. And we were talking with Shaquille, who was the host, about the mental side of the entrepreneurial journey. How we set goals, but also prepare ourselves for the inevitable adversity associated with growth. And one question Shaquille asked us was, where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Side note, I have a unique relationship with this question. As someone who was unsure and experimenting with their career right, for much of their adult life, I never quite knew how to answer it. You know, it's like two things can be true at once. It's a very reasonable question. But I also didn't like it. Hated it to my core. I could never really articulate why. It just made me uneasy. 5 years of life. All my goals. And again, no knock on the host at all. It's a very common and practical question. I'm glad he asked it. Anyway, he asked the question, and I'm thinking, oh man, like, how am I going to approach it? And before I said a word, Evan blurted out, look, if you know exactly what you're going to be doing in 5 years, you're going to. In that comment, to say it made me happy was an understatement. It was like, thank you for staying with my
life. Why? Because growth is unpredictable. It takes us places we didn't expect, shows us things we didn't anticipate, it unveils truths and minor miracles about ourselves that we, let's face it, never would have seen had we been dismissive of all life's variability and opportunity. Now, does this mean we don't move with conviction in a general direction? Does it mean we don't have goals or ambitions? No, I certainly don't think it does. And you can't hit targets you don't aim for, that will always be true. It merely means life is not about being perfect and bringing about a particular result. It's about making adjustments throughout your pursuit of meaning. If you feel closer to your purpose when you change the medium and change, if it means your heart tells you left is where the value lies and not right, then go left. Right? To me, it's essentially reminding us that life is not a black and white, yes or no, checklist or test. Then you have to grant yourself the freedom to play. You have to give yourself permission. I think about how much time is, and how 5 years ago I wasn't even thinking about creating media the way I do now with the amazing team of people that helped me. I wasn't speaking on stages. I hadn't crafted my creative style. I didn't know the people I know now who introduced me to not only new people, but new ideas. These are characters, they're stories, they're opportunities that present themselves only as you immerse yourself in the journey. And I was okay not knowing exactly, but merely moving towards a general direction. The most important decisions were, looking back, not what I said yes to, but what I said no to. As I moved through life experimenting, learning, growing, I was able to craft something that worked.
In the story of our lives,
not other people.
The best of times,
not what's in books. There's no rules.
Time goes on.
This is more of the reassurance I would have wanted.
Every little now and then, it creeps on back.
Don't let them go. You'll hear a lot of talk about the right way to do things, especially in this information age. Those ideas and decisions may have in fact been right, but they also may be wrong for you. Try, test it out, and if not, let it go. The experiment that is your life is the reward. It's a luxury. It's such a beautiful ride. Don't box yourself in because of some made-up theoretical plan. Don't avoid the path to a new world because I checked my list and this doesn't line up with where I said I'll be February 23rd, 2024. Nah, go live your life. Do your best to exist in that place, the intersection of what you love and what adds value. Let it bend, let it transform, let it teach you things about yourself and the world. There aren't correct ways to live, but I think there certainly are some wrong ways. And that's time spent out of obligation, adhering to a story that means nothing to you. Push. See what life gives back. Your footsteps in the aggregate will reveal truths and tell stories you could never have even dreamed up. It's in going that your book is written. And just a friendly reminder, people don't read books for the last page, the ending. No, they read them for that stuff in the middle. Right? The journey. So next time I'm asked what my 5-year plan is, I'll probably say same as my 10, 20, and 30-year plan. I
I don't know. But I can tell you, I won't lose sight of that North Star, the one that calls my name. But at the same time, I won't be afraid to wander into the night, dance in the moonlight, even get lost in the shadows from time to time. Growth is directly correlated to one's willingness to push forward into the dark. And well, into that dark. Valuable concepts and ideas about investment and finance. But there's one idea that I wanted to share. Yeah, from an investing standpoint, critically. But it's relevant to so much. And I think an understanding will help us make that. So first, let's start with financial peace and growth. Hazel talks about how we should look at investing. The market, one of the hardest things for us to deal with is the market volatility. It's difficult for us to invest our hard-earned money and then see the market go, let's say for example, down 20%. Seeing that huge dip in our investment, that's not fun. And everyone knows that can be nerve-wracking. And it dissuades a lot of people from investing or keeping their money in when they should. It ultimately keeps them from getting the returns they need. Right? But here's the point you make. Because those people who see that volatility as a fee and not a fine are more inclined to win in the long term. Understanding that market returns are never controlled, they demand a price. And that price is a roller coaster ride that we all have to deal with. That is the market, the ups and downs and highs and lows. That volatility is the cost of admission. And if you understand that, you're more inclined to stay calm. Keep your long-term vision. You're more than likely to come out on top. On the other hand, if when that turbulence arrives, the sudden crashes, the ups and downs, and you see it as a fine, as this terrible thing that's happening to a punishment, you're more likely to act emotionally, to be reactive, and make decisions that aren't in your best interest. To drive the point home, he mentions Disneyland. The fee is $100, and people will gladly pay that fee because they get that great experience with their family, their kids, that they'll have for the rest of their lives. That $100 isn't fine. It's not a punishment. It's an intentional, deliberate trade of one thing for another. And if you were to look at it as a fine, you would never get to enjoy that experience. If you thought that $100 was a punishment, it just wouldn't be the same. And so why do I bring all this up? Because I'm a firm believer that the best things in life all come with that price, or a fee. But I also think we sometimes have a tendency to look at that cost, that very same cost of admission, as a fine, as a problem. When really, no, it's just trading some turbulence now for a reward a little bit down the road. Sometimes the right thing is the hard thing, the uncomfortable. With dividends, it will pay so long as we understand that it's opening the door to something better. Leaving a situation you know is not good for you. Right? We've all been there, we all know this in some capacity. But it's not a punishment, or even a bad thing. right? That discomfort associated with walking away is a fee that will enable you to live a more aligned life in the very near future. Or let's say you're building something meaningful, something you care deeply about, but it's just you and the idea. There is no validation, certainly no external reward, not yet, and continuing forward in those moments is hard. It's taxing, emotionally draining, but this feeling, again, isn't a punishment. It's not a fine. It's the fee. It's the cost of admission to bring something into life that wasn't there. Life's greatest moments are expensive. It's just, are you going to pay the fee to bring it about, or the cost of regret at a different time? And you get the point, right? You can take this and apply it to so many falling down, criticism, feeling lost, having to start from the bottom. These things are not fine, they are priceless. And so often, the initial price is a bargain compared to what we'll get. We just need to stop perceiving their mere existence as the world working against us. No, these are opportunities in disguise. It's easy to walk by the important things, to dismiss the uncomfortable. The harsh truth is that our greatest opportunities are often intertwined in our distress. That's why so many people walk away from the things that will make their lives better. That's why so many people pull their money from the market when it takes a dive. So many people walk away from a project or idea when things get challenged. Or conversely, it's why so many people do nothing at all. They stay in situations they aren't happy with and know they need to change because the fee to get from point A to point B feels too steep. But I think the value is in comparing the discomfort, the cost, the fee, to what it's going to bring you down the road, because often it's a bargain. We need to remember that what it will ultimately provide has life-changing impact. Understand that resistance is not a fine. It is not the world telling you no. It's life asking you, hey, do you really want it? Because if you do, it's yours. So long as you sign the dotted line and pay the price. Most people will be dissuaded by this. Most people will turn and walk away. But most people also leave a hell of a lot on the table. And I don't want that for you. You don't want that for you. The world we live in is one of abundance. So when life pushes back, understand that it's merely positioning you to move beyond your limits. To redefine your worldview. And while admission isn't free, it's well worth it. Find a way. First and foremost, there are always find a way. You are more strong enough. Is anything other than a sleep or some semblance of progress? Called quits, threw in the towel, giving in, not. Find a way, because that discomfort today, will it become our greatest source of pride tomorrow? A simple decision to carry on or stick it out now. So much more than it appears to be when under duress. Sure, it's easy to turn. But everything relies on your moving forward into that darkness. our souls want adventure. Life's meaning is comprised of the mountains climbed and dragons slayed, so step out
and I together
and slay
crossing
your dragon.
miles. Like a
Find
river flowing with endless smiles.
Because an evolved self has to be
In your
earned.
arms I find a place
Keeping promises
so
to
true.
yourself is no small ordeal. Putting your head on the pillow at night, knowing you followed through on who you decided you would be. That's power.
It shines so bright.
It creates a trajectory towards infinite possibility. It points
Darkest night.
you at the stars.
Your heart is
Find a way, because you must reinforce the fact that the world is clay to be molded, not a checklist. It's a game, not a chore, a gift, not an obligation. When you find a way, you become the ruler of your own kingdom. Look, there exists a way, a path. That's not the question. The question is one of effort. Is there a willingness to move beyond the parameters imposed upon you by others, by the past, by the thoughts that bounce around in your head? Is there a willingness to endure duress in the short term? Is there a willingness to fall down now, to look dumb, to not always be perfectly packaged or assembled? Are you willing to endure that in exchange for the infinite? I remember hearing the mantra, there is always a way to get to your finish. It's not, can I? It's not, is it possible? No, it's how. How do I get there? The dots exist. You have to be the one to connect them. You have to build bridges over the oceans of unknown, the valleys comprised of the unforeseen. Oh, there is a way. Remember that. Remember that it's not the destination that's in question, but one's willingness to knock and knock and knock until the right door opens. Remember that you have everything you need, that you are armed with all that is required. You were made to connect those very dots before you. You just have to decide what's more important to you. That feeling of reaching the top of the mountain, or the feeling of its shade at the bottom. What will you give to be more than you've ever been? Do more than you've ever done? There is always a way. Are you willing to find it?
Like water flowing from open hands. Like water flowing, no more command. Time moves slow now, watching you drift by.
The other day, I went to check out an open mic, and basically people sign up to share their short stories or poetry, stuff like that. And I'm sitting there, soaking it all in, enjoying each one as they went up on stage. And eventually this girl makes her way up. The first thing she does is she tells the room, hey, I've never done this before, always wanted to, here I am. Takes out her phone, begins reading some of her poems. And pretty quickly, two things stuck out. One is she was brilliant, just so incredibly talented that I'm thinking, man, if she keeps doing this, she's gonna find herself in some crazy places. She's really gonna make an impact. That was the first thing. And the second, as I sat there and watched, was that I noticed that her hands were visibly shaking. I was pretty close to this stage. And I could see this happening to the point where she had to place one on top of the other, right, to keep the hand that was holding her phone from bouncing around while she read. That's how visibly nervous she was. And immediately my mind went down this road, reflecting back on the moments I've had just like that, because man, I've been there. Where you're both determined and terrified at the same time, but somehow the desire to try outweighs the fear just enough for you to find yourself in that exact situation. Just enough to step into a foreign world, still wondering whether you made the right move. You know, every step of the way, from the car, the building, onto the stage, until you hit the point where, okay, well, now you can't turn back. Now you're here, you can't leave. And the thing is, and this is what was so beautiful to me, she was never forced to do this at gunpoint. No one made her step into that chaos. It was self-created. She could have stayed home. She could have closed her journal or the notes app on her phone, and that would have been the end of that. But no, not today. Today, one yes would lead to another, and another, and despite the nerves, the sweaty palms, and shaky hands, she would open a new chapter in the story of her life. Prove to herself that she's bolder than she thought she was just a few hours ago. That there's upside when you confront those unknowns in life. And as I sat and watched, I was so incredibly moved, so proud, so impressed. Partly because I know that to many of the people in that room, it might not have looked like much. You know, it's like, okay, great, round of applause for the new artist or poet. Welcome. But I knew the gravity of the moment. I understood how big it truly was. And regardless of what words came out of her mouth or how well they were assembled, that night was not about the performance. No, it was about how to stretch wings, opening one's eyes to learn helplessness and pointing the opportunity that was simply waiting for that first step. And see, that's what I want to emphasize. That's what I believe every single one of us needs to understand, to fully get. The biggest moves we make in life, well, it's easy to convince ourselves that they aren't necessary. The things that transform us, a lot of the time they don't feel urgent. They aren't life or death decisions. They can be the stages we never step on, the people we never talk to, the chances we never take. Because, well, what happens if we simply stay right there? They take you but no send you to those places. Nothing happens. More of the same, and realistically, nothing is far less definitely one to look back from time to time and reflect. And I'll tell you what, I'm incredibly thankful for the hard times, the challenges that were forced upon me and made me who I am. But beyond that, perhaps even more so, the times I stepped out on my own accord, terrified and manufactured change. The times that the fear of staying the same eclipsed the fear of failure. The times I could have stayed, woken up the next morning and lost nothing, but instead saw what there was to be gained and threw myself into that metaphorical fire so that confidence could be forged and new chapters could be written. Let's all remember how out of focus the present moment looks. Remember how inclined we are to look at life through a lens of scarcity. We are trying to avoid. But if you can, even briefly find the strength to step back and ask, what is there to be gained? You see that not going is the real goal. And those stages that seem arbitrary, that seem like optional stops along the way, well, they're just as imperative as the air you breathe. They are not something, they are everything. We all hit a point where we look back on the roads we traveled and see the culmination of footsteps that have come to constitute our lives. And we want that moment to feel full. Like no stone was left unturned, like we put it all on the line. So will you step onto the stage and stand your ground as the curtain opens, read your poems to a foreign audience? Will you share your voice even though it trembles? Because if you do, you're giving yourself permission to truly live, feel. Look, we're not here for a long time. This is the very collect wisdom and pick up armor. You're giving yourself a chance to be more tomorrow than you are. And that means we stop accepting the notion that we are standing still for our benefit, justifying that we're only stationary because we're waiting for the right time. We're here because we need this to be. No, there are a million different ways to get what you want out of life, a million different paths to get you there. None of them require standing still. I already cringe at the amount of time I've wasted waiting for the right time. How I would sit on releasing this or starting that. Oh, it's because I'm a perfectionist. Only to learn that perfectionism is really just fear in disguise. You can sit there and wait and refine and refine and refine. But I'll tell you what, the one who moves, who creates, shares, collects feedback, adjusts, and repeats will have achieved that level of quote-unquote perfection before you feel prepared to acknowledge and share your prototype. It was simply by going that evolution took place. It took me a long time to grasp this, to understand it, and a part of me didn't want to believe it. I found it inherently uncomfortable, but life rewards the bold. It always has and always will, calling for a sort of calculated recklessness. Great things are achieved by doers who can put their egos aside and let the world humble them on their way to the next step. In Ron Chernow's biography on Washington, one of the common themes that I believe made Washington one of the most influential people in the history of mankind was his ability to think, analyze, seek out the opinions of people around him, and then, once decided, that was that. He was all in. The rubber had met the road. This was now the way. And I find power in that, as overthinking is so often our undoing, right? Weighing out worst case scenarios, contingency plans, this versus that. When progress requires that we spend a little bit of time deciding which general direction we go, but most importantly, that we start. And I think we've all been guilty of this. Overanalyzing, over-planning. Just like a sailor can't predict the winds, we can't predict all life's variables. Again, it's deciding on a general direction and then trusting ourselves to navigate life's obstacles as they arise. It's finding trends and patterns along the way and doing our best to utilize them as we move forward. There will be points where the road ahead seems overwhelming, the obstacles too abundant to make sense of, where the mind compels you to stay where you are and stare out in awe. It will suggest that what's behind you is safer, that the world you know contains fewer monsters than the world you don't. It might even convince you that whatever ambitions you had weren't really that important, that you could easily live without them. And the longer you stand there, the longer you listen to that voice, the louder it gets. You dismiss it with every step forward. Your momentum is a dagger through the heart of any doubt that once tried to occupy the precious real estate behind your eyes. You don't have to outthink it, outsmart it. You just have to move forward. And what you find is that the mountains you once peered up at weren't all that they seemed. a culmination of little hills that can be climbed, manageable rocks that in actuality can be used to propel yourself up the mountainside. There was never a perfect path up. No magic transport to the summit. You might even think to yourself, what a shame that so many are still on the sidelines, waiting to devise their perfect approach, making plans and drawing maps. But that's not how any of this works. To win, you go. To make progress, you move. Knowing full well that you'll find your dead end. You'll spend time and exhaust energy going down certain paths that don't ultimately lead you where you wanted to go. But what a gift, the ability to reverse course and take the right at the fork instead of the erroneous left you previously took. Your errors are not permanent. Your errors are correctable. Stagnation is what's permanent. Wishing is permanent. Someday is permanent. But right now, that's pure value. So next time you find yourself looking out, as we all do, remind yourself that there are many ways to transform your reality for the better. Many paths to the mountaintop. But there is only one way to assure you never get there, and that is standing still. So trust yourself to figure life out as it comes, to take the pain and extract from it wisdom, to find the strength beyond the uncertainty. Life is giving you everything that is required. Not some things or a few things, everything. All it asks of you is that you dismantle the delusion of perfection and begin.